Hello guys, good day to you all. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Some group of Yoruba, union has called for the resignation of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, these people came out yesterday while celebrating the June 12th Democracy Day. Talk about the intense hardship that the Tinubu-led administration has plunged Nigerians into. So, as far as they're concerned, Tinubu, needs to be impeached. Now, whether that is going to happen or not, carried out by the assembly member is what, in fact, it not be what we don't know, is what we know. We know that's not going to happen because the men in that assembly there, the men and women there, most of them, I'm telling you the truth, they are for themselves and not for the people. But all the same, this group also called on Nigerians, to not allow the APC Tinubu-led administration to intimidate them. What they are saying is we have to rise up, as one to make sure that Tinubu is out of office. So I'm going to be reading part of one of the media outlets reported, but before that, still talking about, the democracy and all that, a lot of people, spoke up yesterday. Peter Obi, the PDP, the SDP, individuals, Dele Momodu and the rest, and it is not ending anytime soon. Now, another person also who raised voice yesterday was the person of JEGA, which of course, prompted a lot of people to actually blast him. But I'm just going to take the message and leave the messenger. Now, JEGA yesterday, while speaking, on democracy, the way forward, was talking about, electoral reform, was talking about the need for there to be electronic transmission, of results. He also was talking about what is it called, having professors and all that, how to make sure they don't allow politicians to do vote buying and a whole lot of stuff. So I'm just going to show you a little snippet here and there, and then we'll be back.
The Nigerian judiciary needs to be urgently reformed. Globally, the judiciary is said to be the last bastion of hope for the common man. In the Nigerian context, it is really far, far, far from being the bastion of hope for the common man. So we need to urgently find ways and means to reform and reposition the judiciary so it can play effective, non-partisan and impartial role, as well as speed to be speedy in the dispensation of justice, especially with regards to election disputes. It should be made mandatory that all elections disputes are resolved before swearing in of elected executives. Contradictory orders and injunctions issued by courts of competent jurisdiction should also be proscribed. There should also be speedy determination of pre-election matters. So I think that fundamental deliberate omission by political parties which constrain the monitoring role of the electoral commissions need to be addressed. There must be penalties for parties who refuse to provide, as the law requires, their register of members for the purpose of monitoring primaries at least 30 days before the election. We need to proscribe cross-carpeting, particularly for elected executives and the legislators. And we need to empower the Electoral Commission at the federal level and its seats at the state level to prepare for and conduct by-elections as soon as they have evidence about elected people cross-carpeting. The challenge in the existing legislation is that while the law categorically says that if you cross-carpet, you lose your seat, but another provision in the law says that INEC can only conduct elections to fill the vacancies when their seats are declared vacant by the speakers of either the State Assembly or the Federal House of Representatives or the Senate President. Now, invariably, these people move from smaller parties into the parties that are already in control of the legislatures, and they refuse to declare the seats vacant. And it's just impunity. More reforms are required to further strengthen the independence and the role of EMBs in Nigeria to engender the quest for free, fair, and credible elections. In this regard, the following additional reform measures are necessary and desirable and should be given urgent attention. 1. There is need for increase in the use of technology in elections for transparency and accountability. For example, there is also the need to improve upon the provisions of Electoral Act 2022 to make electronic transmission of results mandatory. 2. There is need to ensure transparent testing of electoral technologies. Thirdly, there is also need to clarify ambiguities pertaining to the provision in the 2022 Electoral Act regarding electronic transmission of results. For example, there is need to remove ambiguity in Section 64 of the Electoral Act in respect of the stages for comparing physical and electronic results. 4. There is need to review the appointment process for INEC chairman, national commissioners, and resident electoral commissioners in order to remove or at least minimize executive presidential influence and interference in the electoral process.
The headline says, Democracy Day, Yoruba Union calls for Tinubu's resignation over failure, urges Nigerians to resist intimidation. The Yoruba Union Igbimo Majekobaje Ile Yoruba has called all Nigerians to rise against what it described as intimidation and suppression of fundamental rights by security agencies under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In a statement issued on Democracy Day and signed by its convener Olusola Badero and released on Thursday by the Assistant General Secretary Elder Akinola, the group accused Tinubu-led government of plunging Nigeria deeper into economic hardship, insecurity, and civil repression. The group urged the president to resign, saying that he has run out of ideas to salvage the country. Hunger and insecurity know no tribe, religion, or political affiliation, the statement read. Tinubu's so-called economic reforms have devastated lives and destroyed thousands of businesses, leading to a spike in kidnapping across the southwest and other parts of the country. The group lamented that under President Tinubu's leadership, Nigerians have suffered a series of harsh neoliberal policies, including the removal of fuel subsidy, devaluation of the naira, commercialization of education, a hike in electricity tariffs, and multiple bank charges. According to the union, these policies have exacerbated food insecurity, homelessness, unemployment, and poverty. In the past 2 years of Tinubu's administration, the number of killings and adoptions by terrorists disguising as herdsmen has skyrocketed, Badero said, adding that instead of tackling insecurity, security agencies are more focused on harassing journalists and activists who expose the truth. The union accused the president of criminalizing dissent and protest, pointing to the arrest of peaceful protesters and critics who oppose government policies. The same man who led protests under President Jonathan has now turned around to brand protests as treason, the group noted. The Yoruba Union also condemned the president's recent request to the National Assembly for approval of massive external loans and domestic borrowing. Tinubu is mortgaging the lives of both present and future generations. These loans offer no relief to the ordinary Nigeria but serve the interests of the ruling elite, the group said. The union called on Nigerians to defend their democratic rights against oppression. Democracy is meant to serve the people, not enslave them. Nigerians must resist intimidation and manipulation by a government that seeks to silence their voices, the group added. His speech here during, the event actually got him some insult because a lot of people say, what's the difference between JEGA and, Yakubu Mahmood? JEGA is also part of the problem. The JEGA voice was nowhere to be heard during the time of the Muhammadu Buhari. JEGA also aided the emergence of Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, all these people, most of them, they become hero after they leave office, and then they have a lot of ideas and a lot of suggestions, as to how we can make things better. But I'm just going to take the message and leave the messenger today. Now, this is one thing I expect, the coalitions and other individuals, to root for. It is very important. Whatever it is they are trying to form, all the group coming together, even with the Tinubu trying to, to put the coalition in disarray. Whatever it is they are doing, they should know that the key thing first, the most important thing, is that electoral reform. Now, one of the things I loved, I love so much he talked about is that need, to actually keep public perception about who become INEC chair, about people who are appointed both at the federal and the state level in INEC. It is very, very important. Very, very important. So, this is what, we should be clamoring for as citizens of this nation. In fact, whatever means necessary, that one did me very, very important. And all the ambiguities, inside the electoral laws that we have, those ambiguities also is very essential, that they have them removed. Because sometimes you see a section of the constitution that will say, oh, this is it. And then another subsection, we almost sound as if, it's contradicting what, the first session said. So there is need for the ambiguity to be killed, just like he suggested. I don't know the effort, that these individuals are making, the likes of Verify that desperately want Tinubu out of office, the likes of Atiku that also desperately want, Tinubu out of office. I don't know what they are doing. I don't know if at all they are thinking towards this direction. This is the time that they also support the call being made by the youth for a serious electoral reform. Now, our future and the future of our children, I want to talk to. The people where even we say we never even settle down, we never marry, they hear them. How much more who don't marry? And then you have to fight that before you even, find yourself in a man's house or in a woman's house or in a man's house. Yes. Or the other way, you bring in a woman into your own home as a man. You have to fight because things are not even getting cheaper. Things are getting more expensive every day. Haven't you noticed? Even when things don't increase, bad for Nigeria, don't increase, to come down a wahala. And you have to blame these people because right now, look at these security challenges we are having. Most of them, I have seen videos where they have complained that they cannot even go to their farms. Now, how we don't they bad reach? INEC and the judiciary. I love the fact that he also talked about the judiciary because these people know they even help matters. They know they help matters. At all. I love the fact that he says so. Now, the same yesterday, in the spirit of celebrating, the June 12th, Peter Obi, in one of the events, talked about, how we can actually, make our votes count. So, I'm also going to show you that video before we come back, to wrap this up.
All of you will be there, you have phone, you have everything, and make sure it's counted. If they refuse to count it, count to the person. Simple. This is time to say, our vote must count. Take note of it. Use your phone, use everything and see. Count this phone, this ballot. Record it. Nobody says you cannot follow it to local government. You can follow it to anywhere. Anybody who says you can't follow it is not true. Mobilize yourself, just who follow it. It is your vote. You have right to follow it. and there's nobody who can stop you. There's no, what I'll do different, because I will just be in my village. I'm not going to be in Rivers State. I'm not going to be in Borno. I'm also going to be in one place. And that's what is happening. Is a new Nigeria possible? Yes.
Some of these things, as citizens, we've always been doing this stuff. But I guess, we have to just be more straight, stiffer, in getting our demands being met. So that's just the only thing we need to do. Because if it's insisting that the votes be counted here, we don't do one. But right now I think we need to look at other methods that we have to bring in addition to the old usual ways of we insisting. There must be other methods we can bring in. So if you have something in mind which you feel this is the best way to actually secure our vote, or this is the best way they can go in handling INEC, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. Because as it is right now, we just have to have our Nigeria back before these people, kuku finish the country pata, and then sell it off to one of the nations, with the highest money to pay. It is better we just take it back. These people have wreaked havoc, and they will continue to wreak havoc until a better government, comes, into power. Vote securement, they're very important. Nigerians, they insist now, say, okay, the rig and die thing. I don't want it, I don't want us to end this in social media alone. I want a situation where we'll even take it to the ballot this thing. APC talks, all the talks we then get, I'm not sure say, as to the talk like this, now say the talks reach up to 1 million. Yes, there are some unscrupulous individuals that might want to join, because they need to collect one simple money, a small urgent money. But then the number no go outnumber the people who really want their votes to count. So we have to devise a means. Very, very important. Yes, we know say, nobody say, we no go fit follow this thing. At this point in time, where Peter Obi dey enlighten us the more. Fine. Some individuals will say, oh, this is how it is. I remember in the last election, how a lot of persons even had to pass the night. So if we can handle the one, as much as we are thinking of, handling the one at the polling unit, because people always have their phone to record. So maybe we'll go look for a better other ways. Even as they can't finish, we'll go look and there, snap everything, record everything to be sure. In case INEC goes back or goes behind, to begin to make change. It is very important, say, we first get for sound evidence. Those individuals for this thing, no go feel won't stop all this thing. If we insist, they cannot stop it. Yes, we they do recording, but now we go need to go forward in certain things recording wey be say in the past we know they do them. I feel say it is important now, say we have to look into it. And then at the collation center, there is also every need. Very, very important. Very important, because you can finish what you're doing. How about the collation center? How about it there? So there's room, to mark INEC wey be say we no will give them room to one can't do anything. Whichever we want to do it, I don't know, but we just have to do it. You know that thing that, you don't give INEC that chance to have the time to even want to change results, to have the time to want to do something. You don't do it. Look at the nonsense that happened in Rivers State. You hear news of, some of these people even being hijacked and then taken to one corner of the room as alleged, and tell them to change results. This is what you write. This is what you write. Some of the coppers even had to sustain injury in the process. So what do we do as citizens now to protect these individuals? Because some of them actually refused. Some of them refused. And then ended up sustaining injuries were being inflicted on them. So how do we now do it as citizens so that it doesn't get to the point where even individuals who don't want to indulge in these things are being now forced to, injured in the process? They inflict injury on them, and then you see them, they succumb to it. So what do we do? How do we now handle the case of the police officials who will be there, and watch voters being intimidated, or also aid in balloting, in ballot snatching? How do we handle these issues? It's very important. Very, very important, because if we are saying here, let's talk to the police, no go help matter. And even the words from the police to assure Nigerians is not going to help anything. That one are just nonsense. Is as good as we. How do I even put it? It's just like the APC promising you that things will get better, and here we are. Instead, things are getting worse. We were here during the last election, how the commissioner of police in some of the states came out to say there was no violence anywhere. That's how bad it was. Lying to our faces. So we clearly cannot trust these individuals. That is why they are saying, what is the way forward? Dealing with INEC, dealing with thugs, dealing with even a coalition of results, everything. Now we suppose they lay all the plans, because these people don't start seeing. So it is not too late for us. It is very, very important. What do we need to do? Please drop your opinion in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the support. God bless you immensely. I am super grateful. Do enjoy your Friday, and see you guys in my other videos.